All right, this is Less is More Healthy, number 24, and so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit today about my initial diagnosis with prediabetes. So it was over 10 years ago, I think it would have been 2014, so not quite 10 years ago, 9 years ago. I had gone to the doctor and had my, physical thing. And when the blood work came back, my doctor told me my A1C indicated prediabetes. And I had a bunch of follow-up appointments after that. They sent me to a diabetes specialist, which was a horrible experience. And they put me on medication that made me also horribly ill. And I was told at the time, oh, you'll get used to it. And I never really did. I just got horribly sick. And the more I took care of my health at the time, the better my diet became, the sicker the medication made me. So, I eventually went in, demanded to get off of it. My numbers had at that point gotten significantly better because in grad school, I was able to walk a lot. I was riding my bike to the train, going from the train to class, then walking across Cambridge to the other side of campus, and then back again to get the train home. So, and then riding my bike home. So I was doing a lot of physical activity that I hadn't done up until that point. Up until that point, for the 10 years previous, I'd been sitting on my butt for the most part in an office, and eating really great food because I worked for a major gourmet food retailer. And so, I just packed on a lot of pounds over 10 years. And, and it was not just the weight gain that caused the problems. It was also the diet that I was eating. I was eating a lot of unhealthy foods, a lot of takeout, a lot of delivery, a lot of fast food, because I was working all the time. So I wasn't cooking, as much as I had in the past. So, and, it's a lot harder to pick up something healthy, like a salad with a lean protein, and a lot more expensive than it is to pick up a burger at McDonald's. So those were all issues that were going on. And so when I was in grad school, I was doing all this walking, my health got a lot better, my numbers got a lot better, and I got off all of my medications. And then, I started working, I graduated, obviously. Not obviously, not everyone graduates from grad school. And I got a job, where I was still physically active, but not as physically active. And I basically put on all the weight that I'd lost, but my numbers were still good because I was eating healthier and we were cooking at home. And then my job changed and I moved into a job that was significantly more stressful, and a lower pay. I had to take a pay cut because, there were many reasons why I took a pay cut that looking back don't make sense now. And anyway, then the pandemic happened. And through the pandemic, I was gardening a lot, but I didn't have to leave the house. I didn't have to leave my yard. So I wasn't taking the train. And when I had moved to my more stressful job, I had been taking the bus. And so walking to the bus stop, then walking from where the bus dropped me off to work. So, and then after work, walking from work to the bus stop where I could get picked up and taken home. And that, there were often times where I would get off the bus and walk a longer distance home just because it was nice to get out and walk. But then through the pandemic, my diet went to crap again. Every time I would go into the office, because I'd gotten out of the practice of meal prepping because I didn't have to, I was at home all the time. When I went into the office one day a week, it was to make sure that the fish were fed and make sure that the building was okay. Because we had a history of like burst pipes in the building and all sorts of like shenanigans. So, I was eating like Pop-Tarts for lunch or picking up McDonald's because I was driving at that point. So, all of those things were going on, and none of which is great if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And then I think in 2021, crap, I'm going to pause this because someone's coming. All right, just got a visit by a nice dog with a teenager, which felt awkward talking to a camera, but teenagers are generally okay with talking to cameras, as I've learned at work. So anyway, as my numbers got worse, I felt worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And so when I went to the doctor, my numbers were awful. They put me back on the same medication that I'd been on. And eventually my numbers didn't improve because I didn't make any changes. I mean, I made some changes, but I didn't move anymore. And I didn't really change my diet all that much. I integrated some lower carb foods. I integrated more salads and things like that, but I didn't include any movement. And one of the things that I have found for my diabetes and my body is that I have to include some movement. If I'm not including movement, then I'm not feeling good. I'm just not going to feel good. So, eventually I got that appointment with a diabetes specialist, and I went in and I demanded to get off of metformin. I'll mention it by name because it did make me horribly sick, and I had agreed to go back onto it temporarily until we could get on some other medications. And then before that, they put me on, so I was on 2 medications, the metformin and then the other one. And I just went in and I demanded to get off the metformin. And she was like, yeah, that's cool. There are so many other medications now. You don't have to feel sick. So, because I was always queasy and my stomach was always upset, and I felt like I was like one step away from losing my lunch. So my new doctor put me on a different medication. I was off the metformin immediately, and with the goal of getting off the other medication and being on one single med. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So, the one medication that I'm taking early in the morning, a half hour before I eat or take any other medications, is making a huge difference. And the other medication is now down to half what it was before, and I only take that in the evening. So big improvements all around. I feel so much better. I do still have allergy issues, but that's to be expected. I've always had allergy issues. So yeah, that's a thing. And I'm trying to think where I was going with this. But anyway, that's the sort of diabetes story so far. And gonna, continue to work on it, continue to walk and whatnot, because it's making a huge difference. I feel so much better. I just walking yesterday, the 5 miles wasn't a struggle. It was a bit of a struggle because of the shoes, but it didn't it wasn't awful. It felt pretty good. So today I'm going to do a slightly shorter walk. Looks like we might actually end up getting some rain here. I didn't think we were predicted for rain, but we got some nasty clouds coming. I got to go retrieve my camera before it gets rained on. And I get rained on.